Mind control. How to convince your mind to be successful. Chapter 1. Mastering mind control. It is necessary to have a profound comprehension of psychological principles and the capacity to apply them with precision in order to achieve mastery of mind control. You'll need to grasp core concepts like cognitive biases, conditioning, and the mechanisms of persuasion. These elements form the bedrock of any effective mind control strategy. First, you should completely submerge yourself in cognitive biases. Patterns of systematic divergence from the norm or rationality in judgment are what we are talking about here. For instance, the confirmation bias makes people favor information that confirms their pre-existing beliefs. By recognizing and leveraging such biases, you can subtly guide others' thoughts and decisions. Next, explore classical and operant conditioning. Classical conditioning involves associating an involuntary response with a stimulus. Think Pavlov's dog salivating at the sound of a bell. On the other hand, operant conditioning is about reinforcing behaviors through rewards or punishments. For instance, you can encourage a specific behavior by offering praise or discourage another by expressing disapproval. Incorporating these principles, you should also understand the structure of effective persuasion. The elaboration likelihood model ELM describes how people are persuaded through either a central route, involving careful and thoughtful consideration of arguments, or a peripheral route, which relies on superficial cues like attractiveness or authority. By choosing the appropriate route based on the context and the individual, you can maximize your persuasive impact. When you combine these psychological principles, you create a robust framework for mind control. By systematically applying these techniques, you'll gain the ability to influence and direct others' thoughts and actions with precision, ensuring you maintain control in any situation. Chapter 2. The Power of Influence. Understanding the power of influence involves dissecting how individuals can shape others' beliefs and behaviors through various psychological techniques. Influence isn't about brute force or coercion, it's about subtly steering thoughts and emotions in a desired direction. By mastering influence, you can navigate complex social landscapes and achieve objectives with greater ease. Firstly, consider the role of social proof. People often look to others when forming their own opinions, especially in uncertain situations. Demonstrating that others support your idea can create a bandwagon effect. Evidence from social psychology shows that people conform to group norms to feel accepted and reduce anxiety. Next, think about the principle of reciprocity. As a species, humans have a natural inclination to repay favors. When you provide value to someone, they're more likely to feel obligated to reciprocate. This dynamic can be instrumental in building alliances and gaining compliance. Another key element is authority. The majority of people have a tendency to follow the example of individuals that they consider to be knowledgeable or credible. Displaying expertise or associating yourself with authoritative figures can greatly boost your influence. Studies indicate that even subtle cues, like titles or uniforms, can enhance perceived authority. Emotion also plays an important role. Emotional appeals often carry more weight than logical arguments. Techniques like storytelling can evoke empathy and create strong emotional bonds, making your message more persuasive. Lastly, the framing effect demonstrates how the presentation of information affects decision-making. By carefully choosing words and structuring messages, you can highlight certain aspects and downplay others, thereby shaping perceptions and outcomes. Chapter 3. Core Principles of Persuasion. To effectively harness the core principles of persuasion, you need to focus on key psychological triggers that compel people to act. One essential principle is reciprocity. When you give something, people naturally feel obliged to return the favor. Studies show that even small gestures, such as giving a compliment or providing useful information, can create a sense of indebtedness. Next, importance plays a vital role in persuasion. When you position yourself as an expert, people are more likely to trust and follow your guidance. Evidence supports that individuals wearing uniforms or possessing titles are perceived as more credible and persuasive. Scarcity is another powerful principle. People tend to value things more when they perceive them as limited or exclusive. For instance, limited time offers or exclusive memberships can drive people to act quickly to avoid missing out. Consistency is also fundamental. Once people commit to something, they're more likely to follow through to maintain a consistent self-image. Research indicates that even small initial commitments can lead to larger, more meaningful actions. Social proof shouldn't be overlooked either. People often look to others for cues on how to behave, especially in uncertain situations. Showing that others have taken the desired action can significantly boost compliance rates. Lastly, likability is essential. You're more likely to persuade someone if they like you. Building rapport through genuine compliments and finding common ground can enhance your persuasive power. Chapter 4. Cognitive biases. The consistent patterns of deviation from norm or rationality in perception are known as cognitive biases. These biases play a significant role in the decision-making process of individuals and can be deliberately utilized for the purpose of creating persuasive arguments. Considering that these biases frequently operate below the level of conscious awareness, they are potent instruments that can be used to influence others without resorting to overt manipulation. Let us begin by examining the phenomenon known as the confirmation bias, which occurs when people have a tendency to favor information that supports their pre-existing opinions. By presenting information that aligns with someone's existing views, you can gain their trust and make them more receptive to your suggestions. Following that, the anchoring bias refers to the tendency to place a significant amount of weight on the initial piece of information that has encountered the anchor while making judgments. You can use this to your advantage by setting an initial reference point that frames subsequent information in a way that favors your desired outcome. Another key bias is the availability heuristic, where people overestimate the importance of information readily available to them. By consistently presenting specific examples or scenarios, you can shape perceptions and decisions based on the most immediate and memorable data. The bandwagon effect is also important, where individuals adopt behaviors or beliefs because many others do. Highlighting the popularity or widespread acceptance of an idea can create a sense of social proof, encouraging others to follow suit. Lastly, the halo effect causes people to let one positive trait influence their overall judgment of a person or concept. By emphasizing a single strong attribute, you can positively shape overall perceptions. Understanding and leveraging these cognitive biases allows you to subtly guide decisions, making your influence more effective and nuanced. Mastering these techniques can greatly enhance your ability to control situations through mind control. Chapter 5. Building Rapport. How can you effectively build rapport to enhance your ability to influence others? Establishing trust and mutual understanding are crucial components for any sort of influence, and building rapport is essential for attaining both of these goals. To build rapport, you should focus on mirroring, active listening, and showing empathy. Mirroring involves subtly mimicking the other person's body language, speech patterns, and behaviors. Research indicates that people are more likely to feel a connection with those who exhibit similar nonverbal cues. For instance, if someone speaks slowly and softly, you should adjust your tone and pace to match theirs. This creates a sense of familiarity and comfort. Active listening goes beyond merely hearing words. It involves fully engaging with the speaker. Make eye contact, nod in agreement, and provide verbal affirmations like "I see," or "that makes sense." Doing so demonstrates that you value their input and are genuinely interested in their perspective. Studies show that people who feel heard are more likely to be open to influence. A person's capacity to comprehend and experience the emotions of another person is referred to as empathy. Show empathy by acknowledging their emotions and validating their experiences. For example, if someone expresses frustration, you might say, "I can see why that situation would be frustrating." This validation helps to build an emotional connection, making them more receptive to your ideas. Combining these techniques forms a solid foundation for rapport, which is indispensable for influencing others. By putting your attention on mirroring, active listening, and empathy, you may establish an atmosphere of trust and mutual respect, which will significantly increase the amount of influence you have. Chapter 6. Techniques of Manipulation. Once you've established a strong rapport, you can employ specific techniques of manipulation to subtly guide others toward your desired outcomes. One effective method is the use of scarcity. When you present an option as limited or exclusive, people are more likely to value it highly and act quickly to obtain it. Research shows that scarcity can increase desirability, leveraging the fear of missing out. Another technique is reciprocity. By giving someone a small favor or gift, you create an implicit obligation for them to return the favor. Research conducted in the field of social psychology has frequently shown that individuals have a sense of obligation to return kindness towards others, which in turn makes them more inclined to comply with subsequent requests. Anchoring is another powerful tool. This involves setting a reference point around which decisions are made. For example, if you're negotiating a price, starting with a high anchor makes subsequent lower offers seem more reasonable. Behavioral economics research supports the effectiveness of anchoring in influencing decisions. Framing can also have a significant impact on perception and decision-making. By presenting information in a particular way, you can shape how others interpret it. For instance, describing a glass as half full rather than half empty can elicit more positive responses. Cognitive psychology studies have highlighted the power of framing in altering judgments and choices. The final step is to utilize social proof. People have a tendency to imitate the actions of others, particularly when they are in unclear circumstances. Showcasing testimonials, endorsements, or popular trends can make your proposition more appealing. Empirical data confirms that social proof can notably enhance compliance and persuasion. Chapter 7. The Subconscious Mind. Understanding the subconscious mind is vital for mastering mind control techniques, as it governs the vast majority of our thoughts, behaviors, and decisions without us being aware. The subconscious mind processes information at a much faster rate than the conscious mind, handling approximately 95% of our daily activities. This includes habits, emotions, and automatic responses. To effectively influence others, you need to access and alter these deeply ingrained patterns. One essential aspect of the subconscious is its receptivity to suggestion. Research shows that the subconscious mind is more pliable when a person is relaxed or in a trance-like state. Hypnosis and similar techniques can create such states, making individuals more open to new ideas or behavioral changes. For example, Milton Erickson's work with clinical hypnosis demonstrated how subtle suggestions can lead to significant behavioral modifications. The subconscious mind is also heavily influenced by repetition. Repeated exposure to specific ideas or behaviors can reprogram the subconscious. This explains why advertising often uses repetitive messaging to ingrain brand preferences. By consistently reinforcing certain thoughts or behaviors, you can shape someone's subconscious responses in a predictable manner. Another key element is emotional resonance. Emotional experiences are stored more vividly in the subconscious mind. By tapping into strong emotions, whether positive or negative, you can create lasting impressions and influence behavior. Research in the field of neuroscience has shown that emotional arousal is responsible for activating the amygdala, which is an important part of the process of memory consolidation. Chapter 8. Language Patterns. Language patterns play an essential role in mind control by subtly influencing thoughts and behaviors through carefully crafted communication. To effectively harness language patterns, you need to understand how specific words, phrasing, and sentence structures can bypass the conscious mind and directly impact the subconscious. One key technique involves using embedded commands. These are subtle directives hidden within a larger sentence that the subconscious mind can pick up on. For instance, saying, "You might find yourself feeling more relaxed as you read this," embeds the command "feel more relaxed." The subconscious mind often interprets these commands without the individual being consciously aware, leading to the desired behavior. Another powerful pattern is the use of presuppositions. These are statements that assume something is already true, thereby bypassing critical thinking. For example, when you realize how effective these techniques are, you'll start using them daily presupposes that the listener will find the techniques effective and start using them. Metaphors and analogies also serve as influential tools. By comparing a new concept to a familiar one, you can make complex ideas more relatable and easier to accept. For example, describing the mind as a computer that can be programmed helps people understand the concept of mind control more intuitively. Chapter 9. Emotional triggers. Harnessing language patterns can subtly influence thoughts, but leveraging emotional triggers taps directly into the core of human behavior, often yielding more immediate and profound effects. Emotional triggers are powerful because they bypass rational thinking and tap directly into the brain's limbic system, which governs emotions and memory. By understanding and utilizing these triggers, you can elicit strong, predictable reactions. First, identify common emotional triggers like fear, joy, anger, or surprise. Research shows that emotionally charged messages are more likely to be remembered and acted upon. For instance, fear-based messaging can prompt immediate action due to the brain's inherent fight or flight response. When using this, however, use caution because it has the potential to result in unfavorable results if it is misused or used excessively. Next, personalize your approach. People have unique emotional triggers based on their experiences and values. Adapt your message so that it corresponds with the unique worries or desires that they have. For example, a parent might respond strongly to messages about their child's safety, while an entrepreneur may be driven by success and achievement. Use storytelling as a method to evoke emotions. A well-crafted story can transport the listener, making them more susceptible to emotional triggers. Research suggests that stories activate multiple areas of the brain, making the message more impactful and memorable. Chapter 10. Hypnotic techniques. When employing hypnotic techniques, you can tap into the subconscious mind to create lasting and impactful changes in behavior and perception. Bypassing the critical conscious mind and engaging in direct communication with the subconscious hypnosis, which is characterized by heightened suggestibility and concentrated attention, enables one to bypass the conscious mind. This interaction is essential for altering ingrained patterns and beliefs. To effectively use hypnotic techniques, start with inducing a state of relaxation. Progressive relaxation is a well-documented method. Have the subject focus on relaxing each part of their body, starting from the toes and moving upward. This method is supported by research indicating that physical relaxation precedes mental relaxation. Next, use deepening techniques to enhance the hypnotic state. Counting down from 10 to 1, suggesting each number takes the subject deeper, is an evidence-based approach. Studies show that deeper levels of hypnosis increase suggestibility, making subsequent interventions more effective. Once the subject is deeply relaxed, introduce positive suggestions. These suggestions should be clear, concise, and positive. For example, instead of saying you won't feel anxious, say you will feel calm and confident. Research demonstrates that the subconscious mind responds better to positive phrasing. To reinforce these suggestions, use repetition. Repeat key phrases multiple times to strengthen their impact. This process, known as autosuggestion, has been shown in numerous studies to solidify new behaviors and beliefs. Chapter 11. Body language. While hypnotic techniques allow direct access to the subconscious, understanding body language provides invaluable insight into a person's unspoken thoughts and feelings. By mastering the nuances of nonverbal communication, you can gain a significant advantage in any interaction. Body language comprises gestures, facial expressions, posture, and eye movements, each serving as a window into a person's mind. First, consider facial expressions. The human face is capable of conveying a diverse variety of feelings, from joy to rage. For example, genuine smiles engage the muscles around the eyes, whereas forced smiles do not. Recognizing these subtle differences can help you discern true feelings. Next, focus on gestures. Open gestures, such as uncrossed arms, usually indicate openness and receptiveness, while closed gestures, like crossed arms, suggest defensiveness or discomfort. Pay attention to these cues to gauge someone's level of engagement. Eye movements also provide vital data. Sustained eye contact often signals confidence and interest, but excessive blinking or rapid eye movement can denote anxiety or deceit. Use these indicators to assess the sincerity of the person you're interacting with. Posture is another key element. An upright posture generally reflects confidence and authority, whereas slouched shoulders can indicate insecurity or submissiveness. By mirroring confident postures, you can project authority and influence others more effectively. Chapter 12. Reading people. To effectively read people, you must keenly observe and interpret their verbal and nonverbal cues with a discerning eye. Begin with body language. Notice their posture, gestures, and facial expressions. Are they leaning in, which indicates interest, or pulling away, suggesting discomfort? Crossed arms may signal defensiveness, while open palms often indicate honesty. Next, focus on micro-expressions. These fleeting facial expressions, lasting only a fraction of a second, can reveal true emotions. For instance, a quick flash of anger might show as a tightened jaw or furrowed brow, even if they're trying to appear calm. Mastering the art of spotting these subtle cues gives you an edge in understanding their genuine feelings. Listen to their voice. Changes in pitch, speed, and volume can be very telling. A higher pitch might indicate nervousness, while a slower, deliberate pace can suggest thoughtfulness or deception. Pay attention to inconsistencies between their words and their tone. If someone says they're fine but their voice trembles, they might be hiding the truth. Observe their eyes. While avoiding eye contact might be interpreted as a sign of discomfort or dishonesty, eye contact can be a powerful statement of certainty and honesty. Rapid blinking or pupil dilation can also provide clues about their emotional state. Chapter 13. Creating trust. Building on your ability to read people, the next step is to create trust by aligning your actions and words with their expectations and needs. Trust forms the foundation of influence, making it important to establish a connection that's both genuine and strategic. To achieve this, start by showing consistency. Guarantee your verbal promises match your actions. People are more likely to trust individuals who are reliable and predictable in their behavior. Active listening is another key component. When you listen attentively, you demonstrate respect and understanding, which fosters trust. Use techniques such as nodding, summarizing their points, and asking relevant questions to show you're engaged. This helps others feel valued and understood, making them more likely to trust you. Additionally, empathy plays a significant role. By putting yourself in their shoes, you can better comprehend their emotions and perspectives. According to the findings of a study that recently appeared in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, compassion considerably boosts the level of trust that exists between individuals. Use empathetic statements like "I understand how you feel" to reinforce this connection. Transparency is also important. Be open about your intentions and share relevant information freely. Avoid hiding details or being overly secretive, as this can erode trust. Openness has the ability to boost both confidence and the amount of work that is put in by joint efforts, according to a study that was published in the Harvard Business Review. Lastly, establish credibility by demonstrating competence. Showcase your knowledge and skills subtly through your actions and decisions. When people see you as competent and knowledgeable, they're more likely to trust your judgment and follow your lead. Chapter 14. Anchoring Techniques. Anchoring techniques, rooted in psychological principles, help you create strong mental associations that can guide someone's thoughts and behaviors. By understanding these techniques, you can influence how others respond to various stimuli. Anchoring works by linking a specific trigger, like a word or gesture, to a particular emotional state or reaction. When you later present that trigger, the associated response is evoked automatically. To use anchoring effectively, start by identifying the desired emotional state you want to anchor. This could be confidence, relaxation, or excitement. Next, choose a unique, repeatable trigger. This might be a touch on the shoulder, a specific word, or even a particular tone of voice. The key is consistency. When the subject is experiencing the desired emotional state, introduce the trigger. For instance, if you want to anchor confidence, wait until the person feels confident and then apply the trigger. Repeat this process multiple times to strengthen the association. Over time, the trigger alone will elicit the desired emotional state. Research supports the efficacy of anchoring. Pavlov's classical conditioning experiments with dogs, where a bell-triggered salivation, is a foundational example. Modern studies, such as those by Bandler and Grinder in neuro-linguistic programming (NLP), show similar results in humans. Be mindful of ethical considerations. Misusing anchoring can lead to manipulation and mistrust. Always use these techniques responsibly, ensuring that they benefit the individual and the situation. Chapter 15. Framing and Reframing. Framing and reframing are powerful cognitive tools that shape how individuals perceive and interpret their experiences. When you frame a situation, you define its context and set the boundaries for interpretation. For instance, presenting a glass of water as half full promotes an optimistic view, whereas describing it as half empty fosters a pessimistic outlook. This initial frame influences attitudes, emotions, and subsequent decisions. Reframing, on the other hand, involves altering the perspective through which a situation is viewed. This technique can transform negative or limiting frames into more positive and empowering ones. For example, if someone fails a test, you can reframe the event by highlighting it as an opportunity to identify weaknesses and improve, rather than a definitive measure of ability. Research supports the efficacy of framing and reframing. Studies in cognitive psychology indicate that how information is presented has a significant impact on decision-making processes. Tversky-Kahneman, 1981. Effective framing can lead to better problem-solving and adaptability in various situations. To apply these techniques, start by identifying the current frame. Ask yourself, how is this situation being presented next? Challenge this frame by considering alternative perspectives. What assumptions are you making? How might someone else view this situation differently? Finally, choose a new frame that aligns with your goals or desired outcomes. Chapter 16. The Power of Suggestion. The essential power of suggestion shapes thoughts and behaviors by subtly influencing beliefs and perceptions. When you use suggestions effectively, you can guide someone's thinking without them realizing it. Research shows that even simple suggestions can alter memory, perception, and decision-making processes. For instance, in a study by Elizabeth Loftus, participants who were subtly suggested that they saw broken glass in a video of a car accident were more likely to falsely remember seeing it. This illustrates how powerful suggestion can be in shaping memory and perception. To harness this power, you need to understand the mechanics behind it. First, suggestions work best when they align with an individual's existing beliefs. If you tell someone something that fits into their worldview, they're more likely to accept it. Second, the context in which the suggestion is delivered matters. A suggestion given in a calm, authoritative manner is more likely to be accepted than one delivered hastily or uncertainly. Moreover, the language you use is important. Phrasing your suggestion as a question, for instance, can make it more palatable. Instead of saying, "You will enjoy this book," you could ask, "Don't you think you'll enjoy this book?" This subtle shift makes the suggestion harder to resist. Practical applications of suggestion are vast. From marketing to therapy to everyday interactions, mastering this technique can give you an edge. By carefully crafting your suggestions and understanding the psychological underpinnings, you can influence others more effectively and ethically. And remember, the key is subtlety and alignment with the person's pre-existing beliefs and perceptions. Chapter 17. Using affirmations. Building on the power of suggestion, using affirmations offers another potent method to influence thoughts and behaviors by reinforcing positive beliefs and attitudes. You can challenge and overcome self-sabotaging and negative beliefs by repeating affirmations to yourself. Affirmations are words that are brief and positive. By consistently practicing affirmations, you can reprogram your subconscious mind and redirect your mental focus towards constructive outcomes. Scientific studies have shown that affirmations can improve problem-solving under stress. Self-affirmation, for example, has been shown to improve performance and lower stress levels by enhancing neuronal activity in the reward areas of the brain, according to a study that was published in the journal Social Cognitive and Affective Neuroscience. This means that by regularly stating affirmations, you're not just boosting your self-esteem, you're also rewiring your brain to handle challenges more effectively. In order to put affirmations into practice, you need begin by determining the aspects of your life that you would like to see improved or altered. Construct statements that are upbeat, in the present tense, and detailed. For instance, rather than stating, "I will be confident," you may say, "I am confident and capable." The minor change in wording enables your mind to embrace the affirmation as a fact that is occurring right now, rather than as a potential that may occur in the future. Maintaining consistency is essential. Affirmations should be included into your daily routine, and you should tell yourself to repeat them at times of quiet thought, such as in the morning or before going to bed. You can also write them down and place them where you'll see them regularly, such as on your bathroom mirror or computer screen. Chapter 18. Behavioral Conditioning. To understand behavioral conditioning, you should begin with the basics of classical and operant conditioning. Evidence shows that using reinforcement and punishment effectively can shape desired behaviors in daily life. In understanding classical conditioning, you'll see how neutral stimuli can become powerful triggers for specific behaviors through repeated association. This concept, pioneered by Ivan Pavlov, involves pairing a neutral stimulus like a bell with an unconditioned stimulus, such as food, that naturally elicits an unconditioned response, salivation, in dogs. Over time, the neutral stimulus alone can trigger the conditioned response. To break it down, imagine you hear a particular song every time you eat your favorite meal. Initially, the song is neutral. However, after repeated pairings, your brain starts associating the song with the pleasure of eating. Eventually, just hearing the song can make you feel hungry or happy, demonstrating classical conditioning at work. Unconditioned stimulus and reaction, neutral stimulus, and conditioned stimulus and response are the three essential components that make up the system. The process hinges on timing and consistency. The neutral stimulus must be presented just before or during the unconditioned stimulus to create a strong association. Understanding these principles allows you to recognize and potentially harness classical conditioning in everyday situations, shaping behaviors and responses through strategic associations. By acquiring this core knowledge, one is able to lay the groundwork for further investigation into methods of mind control. Have you ever wondered how rewards and punishments can effectively shape behavior through operant conditioning? Operant conditioning, a concept introduced by B.F. Skinner, relies on the principle that behaviors can be modified through their consequences. In this technique, you're fundamentally using a system of rewards and consequences to increase or decrease specific behaviors. To start, identify the behavior you want to change. Next, decide on the type of consequence, a reward for desired behavior or a punishment for undesired behavior. For example, if you're trying to encourage punctuality, you might reward timely arrivals with praise or tangible rewards. Conversely, if you're trying to reduce tardiness, a mild consequence like a verbal reprimand can be effective. It's important to be consistent in applying these consequences. Intermittent reinforcement can sometimes be more effective than constant reinforcement because it creates an element of unpredictability, which can be more motivating. However, the chosen consequence must be immediate and directly related to the behavior to guarantee clarity. Reinforcement and punishment are the cornerstones of behavioral conditioning, directly influencing how behaviors are learned and maintained. By strategically applying these principles, you can shape behavior effectively. Reinforcement, both positive and negative, strengthens behavior. Positive reinforcement introduces a rewarding stimulus, like praise, while negative reinforcement removes an aversive stimulus, like ending a tedious task. Both methods increase the likelihood of the behavior reoccurring. Conversely, punishment aims to decrease undesirable behavior. An adverse stimulus, such as a scolding, is included in positive punishment to discourage the habit. Negative punishment removes a desirable stimulus, like taking away privileges. Research indicates that reinforcement is generally more effective for long-term behavior change than punishment, as it fosters a positive learning environment. It's essential to apply these techniques consistently and immediately following the behavior. Inconsistent application can lead to confusion and unpredictability, undermining the conditioning process. Additionally, understanding the specific context and individual differences can enhance the effectiveness of reinforcement and punishment. You encounter behavioral conditioning daily, shaping your actions through subtle cues, rewards, and consequences. From the moment you wake up, your environment is filled with triggers designed to influence your behavior. For instance, the sound of your alarm conditions you to start your day. This Pavlovian response links the sound to the action of waking up, demonstrating classical conditioning in practice. Operant conditioning further refines your daily routines. When you receive a compliment for completing a task efficiently, you're more likely to repeat that behavior. Conversely, if you face criticism, you may avoid similar actions in the future. This system of rewards and punishments continuously molds your behavior. Consider your smartphone usage. Apps often use notifications' positive reinforcement to encourage engagement. Each like or message triggers a small dopamine release, making you return for more. On the flip side, ignoring notifications can lead to feelings of missing out, subtly punishing non-compliance. In workplaces, structured feedback systems and performance reviews serve as mechanisms for conditioning. Positive appraisals boost productivity, while negative feedback can prompt improvements. Understanding these everyday examples helps you see how behavioral conditioning operates, making you more aware of its pervasive influence. Understanding the principles underlying both positive and negative conditioning techniques is crucial for effectively shaping desired behaviors. Positive conditioning involves reinforcing a behavior by providing a reward immediately after the desired action. This could be as simple as verbal praise or a tangible reward. The key is consistency. The reward must follow the behavior promptly to create a strong association. The opposite of positive conditioning is negative conditioning, which involves removing an unpleasant stimulus whenever the desired behavior is exhibited. For instance, you might stop nagging someone once they complete a task. This technique also relies on timing and consistency. ensuring the unpleasant stimulus is removed as soon as the desired behavior is exhibited. Research suggests that combining both positive and negative conditioning can be highly effective. Studies indicate that behaviors shaped through consistent reinforcement are more likely to be retained long-term. Additionally, intermittent reinforcement, where rewards are given sporadically, can further solidify the desired behavior by creating a sense of unpredictability and anticipation. In practice, you'll need to identify the specific behaviors you want to shape and choose the appropriate conditioning methods. By meticulously applying these techniques, you can effectively guide behavior and exercise control in various situations. Chapter 19. Overcoming resistance. Identifying the root causes of resistance is essential for effectively implementing mind control techniques. Resistance usually stems from a person's innate need for autonomy and control. When you attempt to sway someone's thoughts or actions, their subconscious often triggers defensive mechanisms. To overcome this, you must first recognize the signs of resistance, such as skepticism, reluctance, or outright opposition. One effective method to address resistance is to employ empathy. You can establish a relationship with the other person that will result in a reduction in their defensive position if you understand and acknowledge the sentiments and opinions of the other person. Research indicates that people are more likely to be influenced by those they perceive as understanding and supportive. Showing genuine interest in their concerns can markedly lower resistance. Another key strategy is reframing. This involves presenting your ideas in a way that aligns with the individual's values and beliefs. For instance, if someone is resisting because they fear loss of control, you can frame your suggestion as a means to enhance their control over the situation. Evidence shows that reframing can shift perceptions and make resistance less probable. Additionally, gradual exposure can be highly effective. Instead of attempting to implement large changes all at once, introduce small, incremental adjustments. This allows the individual to acclimate slowly, reducing the likelihood of triggering resistance. Studies have shown that people are more amenable to change when it occurs in manageable stages. Chapter 20. Establishing authority. Establishing authority is pivotal for effectively implementing mind control techniques, as it creates a foundation of trust and credibility. Without authority, your ability to influence and guide others diminishes considerably. Authority stems from a combination of knowledge, confidence, and the perception of power. By being proficient in these components, you will be able to establish a setting in which other people are more responsive to your recommendations and commands. First, demonstrate expertise. People are more likely to follow someone they perceive as knowledgeable. Share your insights and experiences to position yourself as an expert. Use evidence-based practices and cite credible sources to back your claims. This not only enhances your credibility but also builds trust. Second, exude confidence. Confidence is contagious and can instill a sense of certainty in others. Maintain strong body language, stand tall, make eye contact, and use a firm tone. Your verbal and nonverbal cues should align to project assurance. By appearing confident, you reduce doubt and resistance. Third, leverage the power of social proof. Highlight endorsements, testimonials, or affiliations with reputable organizations. When others see that you're trusted by credible entities, they're more likely to trust you as well. This can be particularly effective in group settings where the influence of the majority can sway individual opinions. Lastly, be consistent. Consistency in your actions and decisions reinforces your reliability. People are more likely to follow someone who's predictable and steadfast in their principles. This consistency builds a sense of stability and dependability, further solidifying your authority. Chapter 21. Ethical considerations. While mind control techniques can be powerful, it's crucial to contemplate the ethical implications of influencing others' thoughts and behaviors. Ethical considerations are paramount, as misuse can lead to manipulation, coercion, and harm. you must guarantee that any application respects autonomy, consent, and the well-being of others. First, consider autonomy. People have the right to make their own decisions without undue influence. When you employ mind control techniques, you risk overriding their free will. Loss of trust and possible psychological injury are also possible outcomes of this situation. Make sure that your actions are transparent and that individuals understand and agree to the influence being exerted on them. Next, think about consent. Ethical influence requires informed consent. It's not enough to have someone's agreement, they must be fully aware of what they're consenting to. For example, using subliminal messaging without a person's knowledge is ethically questionable. Always communicate your intentions clearly and seek explicit permission. Additionally, reflect on the potential harm. Even well-intentioned mind control can have unintended consequences. For instance, influencing someone to adopt a particular behavior could disrupt their existing relationships or personal goals. Always weigh the benefits against the risks and prioritize the individual's long-term well-being. Chapter 22. Real-world applications. Considering these ethical guidelines, let's explore how mind control techniques are applied in various real-world scenarios. One of the most prominent applications is in marketing and advertising. By understanding consumer psychology and utilizing techniques such as priming, framing, and anchoring, marketers can subtly influence purchasing decisions. For instance, priming involves exposing consumers to certain stimuli that subconsciously affect their choices, such as using specific colors or words to evoke desired emotions. In the domain of politics, mind control techniques are often employed to sway public opinion and garner votes. Politicians and their teams use persuasion tactics, such as repetition and emotional appeals, to shape perceptions and influence behavior. Repeated exposure to specific messages can create a sense of familiarity and trust, making the public more likely to support a candidate or policy. Education is another field where these techniques can be beneficial. Teachers can use positive reinforcement to encourage desirable behaviors and enhance learning outcomes. The ability to create a structured atmosphere that encourages student involvement and achievement can be achieved by educators through the establishment of clear expectations and the provision of constant feedback. In the workplace, leaders can utilize mind control strategies to improve team performance and productivity. Techniques such as goal setting, motivational interviewing, and active listening can help managers inspire their teams and foster a collaborative atmosphere. By understanding the psychological drivers of their employees, leaders can tailor their approach to meet individual and collective needs. Chapter 23. Enhancing relationships. Mind control techniques, when applied ethically, can greatly enhance interpersonal relationships by fostering deeper understanding and effective communication. To achieve this, you must first develop active listening skills. Active listening involves fully concentrating, understanding, responding, and remembering what the other person says. Studies suggest that this technique increases trust and rapport in relationships. Next, practice empathy. When you have empathy, you are able to comprehend and identify with the emotions of other people, which is an essential quality for developing meaningful relationships. Research indicates that empathy can greatly improve relationship satisfaction and reduce conflicts. To enhance empathy, you can employ techniques such as perspective taking and emotional mirroring. Another effective method is using positive reinforcement. This involves encouraging desired behavior through rewards or positive feedback. According to behavioral psychology, positive reinforcement can strengthen relational bonds and promote cooperative behavior. For instance, acknowledging your partner's efforts or expressing appreciation can lead to a more harmonious relationship. Learning how to communicate effectively through nonverbal means is also very important. It is possible to convey a great deal of information about your sentiments and intentions through the use of nonverbal cues such as posture, facial expressions, and eye contact. According to the findings of many studies, there are certain situations in which nonverbal communication can be more influential than verbal communication. By increasing your awareness of these cues, you will be able to better understand yourself and others, as well as more successfully communicate your own messages. Last but not least, develop your emotional intelligence. A person's emotional intelligence can be measured by their ability to recognize and control their own feelings, as well as their ability to comprehend and influence the feelings of other people. Extensive research has demonstrated a correlation between high emotional intelligence and improved quality of relationships. The development of this important ability can be facilitated by the use of methods such as self-reflection and mindfulness. Chapter 24. Career Success Strategies. To excel in your career, you must strategically leverage mind control techniques to enhance productivity, leadership, and workplace relationships. Start by mastering self-regulation. Studies show that high emotional intelligence (EQ) correlates with better job performance. Practice mindfulness and cognitive reframing to manage stress and maintain focus. These abilities enable you to adjust to shifting environments and to make decisions that are in your best interest. Next, apply mind control to leadership. Effective leaders influence and inspire their teams. Utilize techniques such as mirroring and active listening to build rapport and trust. Research from Harvard Business Review indicates that leaders who demonstrate empathy create more engaged and productive teams. When you demonstrate an understanding of and a willingness to address the emotional needs of your coworkers, you contribute to the development of a positive culture at work. Mind control also enhances your ability to negotiate and persuade. Employ principles from psychological theories, like Cialdini's 6 principles of persuasion, to craft compelling arguments. For example, the principle of reciprocity states that individuals have a sense of obligation to return favors that they have received. Use this by first offering help or resources before requesting something in return. This strategy increases the likelihood of positive outcomes in negotiations. Additionally, strategic networking is essential. Utilize the art of subtle influence to expand your professional connections. Engage in meaningful conversations, express genuine interest in others, and follow up consistently. Research supports that a robust network can lead to more opportunities and career advancements. Just like a sculptor shapes marble, you've now learned to mold minds with precision and care. By mastering cognitive biases, rapport building, and ethical influence, you hold the chisel to carve out success in any situation. Remember, each technique is a brushstroke in the masterpiece of effective mind control. Use these tools wisely, and you'll not just navigate but also transform the landscapes of your relationships and career, sculpting your desired reality with every thoughtful move. Thanks for listening to or reading this from Audiobook's office.